And we are back. Home track heroes here at Evergreen Speedway. Steve Mortland here, Jeff Knight over there. First time for 2020, and a great new sponsor, the Northwest Motorsports Street Stocks.
Absolutely. This is a great field of cars.
It
a
is.
lot of good talented here. Starting on row one, Cullen Hubbard in the 14. This is his rookie year in the street stocks, so nothing like starting it on the pole position, your first race out. Outside of him in row one, Ted Lindgren in the 88. Row two, Mike Marthaler in the 44. The number 3 of Jesse Jensen. You'll see a familiar paint scheme on that car.
You will.
Row 3, Cullen's dad, Mark Hubbard in the 41. Outside of him, Nick Beecher in the 45.
Sheridan Vincent in the 43. This is his rookie season in the Northwest Motorsports Street Stocks. Ran mini stocks for several years. Good to see Sheridan moving up. And Jeff Miller in the 30 car. Kenny Erickson in the 22 has been out here forever. Boy, I tell you, I've been calling his name for decades. Kenny Erickson in the 22, Cale Cheth in the 23K, Austin Camp in the 69, and rounding out the field is the 44X of another guy, Charlie Davis, who's been out here forever too. But gotta like that. Sheridan Vincent's 43 car, love that. Boy, I tell you, I'm all about the numbers on that thing. But a really cool story. Kind of a sad story, but kind of a cool one. Jesse Jensen in 3, owned by Dirk Kruzwick, who was originally scheduled to drive this car and messed up his back somehow.
Yep.
And Jesse I don't quite know the whole story, but I have a feeling that Jesse was probably packed and ready to go when he got there, just in case.
Knowing Jesse Jensen, his driver's suit is always packed and ready to go. He's a great car builder. Probably one of the best setup men in all of the Pacific Northwest. And a couple years ago, he got back behind the wheel again, and he's doing really good.
Yeah,
pretty good shoe.
Just absolutely. We were talking about it during the commercial break. I am a big Jesse Jensen fan, and it's going to be really cool to see how he does.
He's right there in row 2, outside in that number 3, Dale Earnhardt Sr. looking Monte Carlo.
Yeah, and that car has really got some pedigree to it, too.
We're bunching them up.
Here we go. We are getting them lined up.
Cullen, first start of the year. Green, green, green.
And here they come. And, boy, I tell you what, a nice run on the outside.
Ted got a great jump in that outside groove.
He did.
You know, that's one of the things, and Cullen being a rookie, first green flag, you just don't know how hard you can go into turn 1, and you learn as you go, get some experience on restarts.
A lot of sensory overload. I can just imagine.
Well, the last thing you want to do you're on the pole is drive down in there and spin out and wreck the whole field, right?
Right, yep.
So he's sitting third right now, though. And
see the 41 there of Mark Hubbard, familiar number in the Hubbard family. Nick Beecher is another cool story in the number 45. His dad, Dan, has raced out here. His mom used to race out here, too.
Awesome.
And the Beecher family has been longtime supporters of Evergreen Speedway, and especially Dan, like a lot of guys, cut his teeth back in the Western Washington Racing Association back in the day when they were running Friday nights out here. So good to see them keep going. And in fact, Nick, who's a technician at Roy Robinson Chevrolet, and I've known that young man since he was probably about 3 or 4 years old, and just so cool to see him. He's running the Hornet division, has a Hornet, it runs in the Legends, has had one of those cars, and now he's up in the street stock. He originally built that for his dad, by the way, to run. And his father, Dan, is going to be running in the Pro Late Models. You'll be with him in a couple weeks out on the track, and kind of cool to see how this all comes together. But back up front, it is Jesse Jensen, who has gotten into the lead in that number 3 car.
We got Dad passing son here in 1 and 2 in the Hubbard cars. Those light blue side panels with the white roofs.
Wonder if he waves at him when he goes by.
I don't know.
I would, especially if it was my son.
Mark probably's like, young Skywalker, follow me.
Another interesting story is the 44 of Mike Marthaler, the 2014 Rookie of the Year in this division. I follow him on Facebook, and I've kind of gotten to know him a little bit over the years. And boy, talk about a guy who is all in this division, and that's Mike Marthaler. He's recently a new dad, so he's got that going on. Really, wanted to get his season started on time. Couldn't do it, but man, nobody happier to be out there on the 3/8
and
Mike
following
Marthaler.
in the footsteps of the passion of his dad.
Yes, exactly.
His late father, and just continued it on. And really hats off to him for carrying the torch of his family and all that's father and son right there.
There they are, the old man Mark up on the outside, Cullen down on the inside. I kind of think that Mark maybe was just kind of hanging there for a little bit.
You know, Mark won a championship in a Superstock in 1991.
Can you believe that? That's how long some of these guys have been doing it. And the Hubbards, they would go away from Evergreen for a while, try something different, but they always come back. And I will never forget that 1-2-3 finish. Grandpa, Dad, and the son. Yeah. And it was historic. It had never been done out here, and that was quite a deal. And I think a lot of people. There's Charlie Davis in that number 20, or Kenny Erickson, I'm sorry, in the 22 car. Always easy to find. Really enjoy him, and comes out for all the right reasons. And you gotta love that. There's a good shot of Mike Marthalo there in the 44. Back up front and just running away with this one, Jesse Jensen in the Dirk Cruiswick. And Dirk Cruiswick is a former champion in this division from many years ago. And he's another one that kind of just said, you know, I'm going to go find something else to do. But it was so good to have him back, and just another guy that does it for the right reasons as well. So good to have Dirk Cruiswick back out here. Really good to have Jesse Jensen.
I've gotten to take a really close look at that 3-car.
Yeah.
And it's hand-built. Mm-hmm. And Dirk and his guys, especially Geoff, takes Geoff is an artist when it comes to working with metal, and you really get up close to that car, and it's as beautiful as it is fast.
Yeah, you know, and another thing, remember last week when we were talking about the evolution of the Outlaw figure 8s?
Yes.
Jesse Jensen had a lot to do with the revolution of the street stock, and I think it changed it from a bomber car to a street stock when they kind of had the more aerodynamic front nose to it. And Jesse had some really great ideas, and he's another phenomenal fabricator as well.
Yeah.
And all of these cars that you see out on, especially the Camaro-bodied cars, are all influenced by Jesse and how he kind of envisioned one of these things could go. And it's really held up well.
I think in the racing circles, we could all agree that Jesse's probably ruined this class a couple times by building a car that wins all the races. Most recently, Stephen Potasik's car,
exactly,
built by Jesse Jensen, has just dominated the last couple of seasons out here.
Yeah, it's been really, really fun to get. And as Jesse comes across the start-finish line, as we have got 14 laps to go, single file, got to give a shout out to the 88 of Ted Lindgren. That is just a phenomenal looking machine there, as Mark Hubbard is just about getting ready to come up on the backside. You can see the halfway sign. Oh no, excuse me, the move over flag. One of these days we're going to do a tutorial for you guys on race flags. I think that'd be a really cool thing to
the blue one with the yellow stripe means you're in the way.
That's right.
Pick a groove and stay in it.
Yeah, leader's coming.
You know, that's always like a debate, like how fast is the leader coming? You kind of want to know when you see that flag because, hey, if you're way off the pace, then get out of the way. But man, if you can stay on that lead lap and maybe a caution comes, you get that track position back, it's just a hard balance. That's why you'll see some guys will fight to stay up there as long as they can. Yeah, and it's always interesting, too, to watch the lanes that these guys find where their car wants to run. And a lot of it, too, is your car. I mean, it's an inanimate object, but boy, it tells you a lot that it wants to do, doesn't it? Absolutely. And Hubbard's car in that last coming off of 2 right there was absolutely all kinds of loose. You can just watch it if they stay here. Watch that left front tire. They turned off it.
Yeah, but you could see the left front. It seemed like it was kind of digging itself in.
It's digging itself in, and then you can actually see the plane of it change as he's putting wheel in and out of it.
Ted Lindgren in that 88 car still hanging on.
Really strong. Love how that car gets to the bottom right there.
Yeah.
You can touch that. Yeah, see, you get that straight drive off of turn 2, and I'm telling you, that's the quick way around this place.
And it's really interesting, too, when you see them in turn 2, you can actually see when they're pressing down on the gas pedal, because you can see that distance in the left front fender. That thing wants to just tip it over to the right.
Absolutely. When you're driving into the corner and Hubbard's trying him on the outside right here in 3 and 4.
Yep.
Worth watching that.
Yeah, they are side by side.
Jensen checked out.
Yeah. Look at Jesse
sipping
go.
coffee up there.
He is.
Hubbard's on the outside. Oh, drove it in really deep. Third groove, see, rotated really good right there in the center.
He did. And that's one other thing as we kind of get more into these races here on Home Track Heroes, you'll kind of get an idea of when you see a car coming out of a corner, where it wants to go coming into the next one. You saw Hubbard coming out in the middle of the groove coming out of turn 4 and just kind of kept that same approach as we've got 7 laps to go here for
Hubbard finally clears him for that second spot.
He did get around him.
You were talking about, though, the weight transfer. So the heavier these cars get, the more you can see the weight transfer from braking to acceleration. And so, like, if you watch these two particular cars we've been watching for second and third, they have orange valances, and you can actually see the angle of them change and the attitude of them change, kind of like an horizontal stabilizer on an airplane gauge. You can kind of watch it move around.
Yeah, there's some really weird physics going on out here. And a part of it, too, when they're trying to pick it up to the right, it's also transferring a lot of weight to the back. So that's got to be factored.
Exactly.
There's so much that these guys have to kind of keep in mind as we got 4 laps to go. Jesse Jensen in the number 3 Dirk Cruisewick-owned Chevrolet, still leading this thing.
Yeah, he's Cruisewick is cruise control today.
Yeah,
that's what
no
that
kidding.
is.
I also wanted to give a shout out to Jeff Miller in that number 30 car. Why? As the white flag is out for Jesse Jensen, 1 more to go. There it goes right by.
Because that car is awesome. Every single year, that 30 car is
and
awesome.
It's different.
Fan favorite every year.
As it should be. We also wanted to give a shout out, too, to Dave Lund in the number 28 car, who's not in this race. Qualified really well, but had some problems.
There we go.
White checkered flag out for your winner, Jesse Jensen, and we'll bring the top 3 up, but really excited when Dave Lund brings his new car out. All right, we're going to take it down trackside to Kyler Hope here just in a few seconds as Jesse Jensen picks up the win in the Dirk Cruisewick-owned number 3 car. Mark Hubbard in 41 in second.
Down in Angel of the Wounds victory lane, Jesse Jensen, green to checkered. That's kind of rare for the street stocks, but he brought it home.
Yeah, it was fun. It kind of got a little monotonous out there towards the end. Was hoping to have, because normally there is cautions and whatnot, but yeah, green to checkered, it was fun. Stretched it out a little bit in the beginning, then just kind of rode in case there was a caution, and yeah, brought it home.
Your first time racing this car, how did it feel?
It's definitely a little different. It's a little touchier. You got to really finesse this thing around. But with that being said, the track was really, really slick tonight. It's I don't know what the heck's going on with it, but it was just not a lot of grip to be had out there tonight. It was just really slick.
Jesse Jensen comes home first on a very slick racetrack. Mark Hubbard P2 tonight, and it was quite the battle with Ted for second for quite a few laps.
Yeah, I kind of set up for rain, and I think I got the right rear tire a little bit too hot, and I just didn't have anything coming off the corner, but first time in the car, really happy with our results today. To go home, do a little bit of tweaking on it, and get ready for the next race.
Mark Hubbard P2 tonight. Ted Lindgren, it comes home P3 tonight in the new body. Walk me through that race.
That was fun. It was clean. It was long. No cautions. That was nice. We're still learning. We got a little bit of figuring to do. She got loose halfway through. Mark was able to get around me. I couldn't hold him off. I knew that was coming. But I'm just proud with the team that we put in to finish third, get up here on the podium. Talk about our sponsors, American Image, AIHair.com, Performance Loop Synthetics for Amsoil, shipped to your house. And, of course, our family, friends, Jimmy Lampinen, my crew chief, Adam Bahari. Couldn't do it without him. It's been a fun ride so far, and hopefully the days ahead are getting better.
Ted Lindgren, P3.
All right, thank you, Kyler. Good job and a great group, the top 3 for our Northwest Motorsport Street Stocks. And again, thanks to Northwest Motorsport for coming on board with Evergreen Speedway in 2020. Coming up next, the Granite Super Sprint Cars. First time in 2020 here on CW11 and Home Track Heroes.